Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I'm joined with Bob Meatbag,
Hey.
and that's it because Bobby is busy right now. So, um, yeah, so sorry for starting a bit late. Everything is very hectic these days. I am back in Canada, uh, and that has made things very, very
Busy.
busy. So, um, yeah, everything's really what? Stop that! Stop that! There, very wacky and busy and crazy, um, and it's really hard to get things in order. In fact, I don't know how I can really keep up with the YouTube thing because I've been doing a video every week for years now, like not missing one. You can check on the date posted of videos if you're not believing that. But anyway, and it's just getting to the point that so many things are going on, and YouTube has to kind of like it's something that takes up more time than it's worth. I hate to say it that way, but it's kind of becoming that. So I will probably not be able to keep up with the. Wait, how do I like Hamilton? I'm not in Hamilton. Anyway, so I won't be able to keep up with the once a week YouTube videos. I think it's just gonna be way too much for now. However, once life stuff gets resolved, probably try and get it back to that. So yeah, that's my talk on that. And then anything interesting going on in your life, Bob?
Well, and to go back to an old joke that happened on a previous stream, my career as an invalid has gone up to new heights. I thought I hit the ceiling, but it's just like, oh no, there's more. So my jaw is getting messed up. It's so the story is basically, I went to have my teeth checked, and they found some cavities, and it's like, okay, I need to get that handled. And they filled my teeth, and then afterwards I found that it was uncomfortable to close my mouth, and I said, okay, well that's not normal. Basically, the entire right side of my mouth was like, the teeth on the right side of my mouth just it's like it was out of place. So basically, the left side of my mouth couldn't close properly, and because of that, I was like thinking, okay, well this isn't right. So I went to the dentist, and they got it fixed, and then they filed down my teeth, and it's like, okay, well, this seems better for now. And then as like a few hours went by, it's just like, oh no, this is even worse. It's just like it's not exactly correct. I went back again to have my teeth filed down, and I thought it's like, oh, it was okay, but then I started feeling this weird thing where it's just like, oh, my jaw can't, it's shifting to the right. Like it's like if I open my mouth, my lower jaw shifts to the right, and basically my jaw is completely crooked. I can't close my teeth properly, and there's always constant pressure to where my jaws connect to my skull. So basically, not only are my hands destroyed, my legs destroyed, my immune system has problems, but now even my jaw is going out of place, and my teeth are getting messed up. So, it's like I'm pretty much a superstar when it comes to an invalid right now, like crooked teeth today, a broken spine tomorrow,
Right. Gotta add that.
Yeah. So basically, my entire body is becoming crooked and broken. So it's like, it just makes me think. It's like, man, if this keeps on going on, I won't even need to be an artist anymore. I can just stay as this. just become a permanent invalid, and then just become a horror story to be shown in hospitals everywhere. So that's always going to be amusing.
Oh,
man,
that's sad.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, man. My career is going great. You know, just at this point, it's just like, man, just give me a few more weeks, and I'll be properly hospitalized.
Oh no. Okay, let me give some shout outs to people who really need me to say their name, because that will make it very important. Andre Gonzalez. Hello. There, is that it?
No, I think so.
Kiro-kun, BK Silux, and Marcus Moylan. That's it. I don't have any more to give. Hello, everyone else, and also your name. You know, like insert your name here and pretend that I said it, and that is useful. What? Okay, so I've noticed you. That's not how you're supposed to do these things, but anyway.
Oh, who is this? Who is this strange creature you're drawing? Seems like something out of a strange dream. A horrible, horrible, disgusting invalid stream.
I don't know. Let's change it. Let's alter it. Okay.
Oh, it's a mustache now.
Yeah, it's not anyone who at all resembles you, for sure. It's not that.
Oh, should the character have resembled me in the first place?
No, never. Why would that be the case?
Man, he has teeth growing out of his skull.
It's a condition, you know.
Yeah.
It's very painful to have this happen, but it's not uncommon, especially in Canada. There are towns in Canada that, like, there's this town called Trail in British Columbia, and everyone seems to have that condition. No, of course not.
Oh, jeez. Would it have anything to do with the pollution?
Yeah, probably. You know, that's a contributing factor, but
the pollution and the radiation causing things to grow out of people's skulls, and umbilicors to go out of the back of their skulls as well.
Yeah, that. Okay, so Connor lives an hour away from Trail in Nelson. Yeah, I do know Nelson, but I don't think I've been there. But yeah, I don't know why you're laughing. I have that condition, and I'm offended. I'm sorry, Bollocks McGee. I totally believe you have that condition with a name like Bollocks McGee. You are totally legit.
Yeah.
Hey, Sycra and Bob, could you guys talk about handedness?
Handedness? What is handedness?
Like handies, like left-handed or right-handed, I think.
Well, geez, I'm right-handed, and I'm guessing are you right-handed, Sycra?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go.
In my opinion, if you're not right-handed, you're wrong-handed. Like, of course not. Of course not. That's not true. There's apparently a huge prevalence of left-handed people. Flavia's left-handed-ish.
Oh.
Like, she is by birth, I think, left-handed, but then by what's the other thing than birth?
The other thing than birth? Death.
No, yeah, not death. She learned how to be right-handed.
Oh, okay.
And she can do both.
Yeah.
Ambidextrous. She's ambidextrous.
It's interesting because she gets to be both right and wrong.
Yeah. Ninja of the Peach says, when will more slots open on your Patreon for the $15 pledge? Soon, I hope. As soon as I get everything worked out with my living situation, because that is not yet worked out. And then I will, try and do stuff from that point onward, because right now it's all a mystery. Who knows what's going to happen. But after, it will be something useful. Stephen Ewan asks, can you talk about art classes? What art classes? Oh, I don't know. You have to be more specific, Stephen. Lemony Apples says, can you talk about your recent critique? People seem to talk about style versus technique on the comment and seemed interesting. I did take a glance at some of the comments, and yeah, it was pretty discouraging for me personally, because it seemed to be missing the point. But I guess I can understand that. I don't know. The original critiqued person left a comment, and I thought it was pretty good at explaining what was going on. But I do agree that, if the purpose of a critique is to take the person's artwork and just make it better, I don't know what better means, but just make it more, then that's one thing. But if the purpose of a critique is what I think it is, which is just to help the artist grow, that's it. It's not about, oh, I'm going to show off, or I'm going to do, because I thought the critique, the person who was getting the critique was very, very good. And so I was just trying to offer whatever I could that they didn't already know. Okay. And Anton Bia, did you see the Sycra head puppet on Cynics' page? Yeah, I did. It was very flattering. I'm always surprised at how much stuff I see of myself on Cynics' things. It's unnatural and
almost an obsession.
Some people should be ashamed of themselves. Okay. So it's actually easier if people type my name, because then it pops up. Okay, so Krenel Ishak Pasha asks, who is Bob? Bob is...
it's me. I'm Bob.
He is a great man. Father of 3 wonderful children. They tasted very good, I believe. Isn't that how you described them?
Yeah, I mean, some I had fresh. I mean, just to experiment with the taste. It's just like, okay, well, some I got right away. Others I left to age. I tried feeding them different things, just to see how they would taste, and it's like, it's interesting to have them at different ages.
Yeah, I've never tried that, but I take your word for it. You are the expert. Okay. Oh, could I talk about my opinion on college art classes and schools and stuff? I could, but I've really talked about that a lot. So I will encourage you to look at some of the other streams, because we have talked about that topic really a ton. So you will find plenty on previous streams. So what else have we got here? Okay. I feel like Sycra would do a killer Morty impression. I don't know who Morty is. Morty.
I think I might know what they're talking about.
Oh, what is it?
It's a cartoon show. I don't remember what the name exactly. Morty and something. Some sort of cartoon show made by I don't remember who, but I think it's on Adult Swim or something. Rick and Morty. There we go. Rick and Morty.
Oh,
it's a cartoon show.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's fine.
Who's this?
Oh, snap.
I'm your worst nightmare. I don't know.
Oh, it's Pastelata.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. What were we talking about?
We're talking about Rick and Morty and not knowing what that is. Do you know what that is?
It's a show, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that much knowledge, but I don't know beyond that. But that's okay. All right, let's see more questions. Could you talk about, Vishal asks, could you talk about the future of art industry, like the use of tilt brush by Google and stuff? I cannot. I have no idea what the art industry is going to become. It's something that, you know, I'm not a fortune teller, so I wouldn't presume to know. Do you have any ideas, either of you guys, on what you think of the future of the art industry?
Oh no, lots of 3D.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Lots of 3D. I'm actually literally considering going to 3D art school. Like, I know I'm against art school, but there's a program here at ASU that it teaches you 3D programming and not 3D programming, 3D art and other like programming stuff, and that's something I've had a lot of trouble learning on my own. So it's more of a technology-based thing than an art thing, though. I think it's very useful to learn that anymore. I mean, even just to help your own art, because like I think it's like ZBrush or something. People have been using it to sculpt faces of their characters and then use it as a reference. So if you don't know what your character looks like from a certain angle, then now you know. So it's pretty helpful. But yeah.
Oh snap! 3D art lessons from Pastelata.
Heck yeah. Also, if it's easier, you can just call me Pass. Like, that's everybody. People either call me Pass or Paste, and I prefer not to be called Paste, because even though I am pasty, that's weird.
Oh.
I don't go outside, ever.
Oh, that's fine. Bob, you don't go outside either much.
No.
If you want to be a real artist, you can never go outside, ever. You just have to stay inside and draw forever and never have friends outside the internet.
Chris Munar asks, do you believe in the magic of animation? Also, how do you feel on the current animation industry, rising or falling?
I don't know much because I'm not really in the animation industry. Do I believe in the magic of animation? I don't know if there is magic of animation. It's just animation. I guess if he means if I'm impressed by animation, then sure. Glenn Miyazaki, the people who are good at animation are usually they're really good at what they do just because they have to draw so often. And animation, from what I remember, was the hardest thing to learn. Just because you have to juggle so much physics, line of action, timing, movement in space, all that stuff. Probably one of the hardest things to learn when it comes to art. So yeah, I am very impressed by animation.
I have no clue about how that industry works, so.
Yeah, I believe in animation. As for whether it's rising or falling, I don't know. I think in terms of my own personal opinion, I would say I don't like the direction it's heading, but that's just my opinion, and you know that's not worth a whole lot. So, am I going to do Inktober this year? No, never. I don't. I loathe these things where it's like. Again, this is my personal opinion, but I really hate the whole. Oh, it's this is this month, so draw this. This is this day, so we should all do this. Let us be sheep. Bah, bah, let us jump off this cliff.
Don't you insult my brethren. Huh?
Inktober is just people just use ink for like a month or something. Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it's like, if you really like ink, just use ink. Nobody's stopping you.
Mm.
No, I will now use Inktober because, or those things where you find, I'm probably insulting a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be. So yeah, see, this is why I don't say my own opinion.
No. Go ahead.
Oh,
It's
dear.
I think it's an interesting idea. It's just like people are following a lot of trends, right? And I mean that's pretty prevalent these days.
Honestly, well, I don't know. I'm kind of in the opposite because I feel like a lot of people getting in on these groups of things that people are going to follow that tag, and then they could actually like find a new artist they like from that tag, or someone who's actually really good at ink would be good for them. But I don't know. It's like,
Are you talking about accessibility? Is that what you mean? Like it's like, okay, so there's this thing called, so it's basically like a holiday, basically a month-long holiday, and then people just do some specific thing, and because of that, they find out more about whatever it is they're going to find out about.
well, I guess you can learn from it, but like more like people, like artists who haven't been discovered yet might, it's almost like fan art, that if you're part of this hashtag or whatever, or this movement, or I guess interest, that other people are going to find you through that interest when they might not normally find you through like just your regular art, especially if you do a lot of original stuff. So
you mean like for somebody that's beginning, then it might be good, or
yeah,
just
beginning or
just
not
getting
known.
into ink. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I've heard though, like what I actually was thinking about doing Inktober a while ago, but I looked into it, and it's just basically a challenge to draw every single day or every 5 days for the month. And it's just kind of like trying to get people to draw more. So.
But wouldn't you say that there's a risk of like, it's like, okay, because everything has a gain and a cost, right? So like you gain, you go into this Inktober thing, you gain, I suppose, the feeling of what's the word for it? Camaraderie? Yeah, that word. There are certain words that I cannot say, and that's one of them, apparently. I'm learning something new about myself every day. Ooh. But anyways, so you get that, and then it's just like you get the feeling that there's other people doing this kind of stuff, and you can see them doing this kind of stuff, and you get pressure from it. But wouldn't you also say that doing that for too much also kind of gets in the way of self-exploration?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a stress thing, that people take it more, not really to improve their art, just to make, I don't know, just to kind of like make us make the challenge. Like they don't care about making quality art; it's more about quantity. And I guess that's a downside to those kind of things. It's like quantity versus quality, basically, because you're drawing every day, and basically it's a simple drawing usually, unless someone's insane and spends the entire day.
Then I guess what it is that people are looking for pressure, right? It's like they know.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a motivation, basically.
Yeah, they know they can't do it themselves, so they're not. Let's say they're not in a classroom environment, where maybe they don't really have people. They don't have many art friends, and then because of that, they have to look for external sources of, I suppose, pressure. Because that's one thing that I've learned a lot about. Is like when you get into pressure, or you have a source of pressure that's put on you, like there's an expectation that you're supposed to do work, that you're supposed to do arts, then that really changes, I don't know, I guess the outlook. Because people without any pressure at times, they either don't do anything at all, or they're the type of people to do something regardless.
Yeah, and I think, especially with a challenge like that, people, since there's other people around you, they're kind of keeping you accountable. Like if you say, okay, I'm going to dedicate these 30 days to Inktober, and then people see you're not doing that, then you kind of failed, I guess. And I don't know. I see the merit and also kind of the negative of that, but I think it really depends on the kind of person you are too. I know if you want to, like, I don't know how to describe it.
Maybe that's the answer. It's just like, okay, is this going to benefit yourself? If there are people out there who I guess would benefit from Inktober, then I guess that's all right. But I think it's good. It's a good idea to be aware of just cost and gains. But I don't know. Maybe if you're just beginning, it would be a good idea to just get yourself into some sort of community where you're held accountable for the amount of time you spent on something.
And also, well, another thing to think about is, well, I've been actually thinking about this a lot more because a couple, I don't know if you guys heard about the whole like art block drama stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but basically, like a lot of people.
I have no idea what you're talking about with the art
Good,
block.
because I'm not going to talk about it. You can find it later. People on YouTube probably know what it is. But it's basically this huge thing over, there's just a huge misunderstanding between professional artists and hobbyist artists. And I guess here we're usually talking to people who want to, like in the stream, in this kind of area of the internet we're in, we want to talk to people who want to be professionals, like, oh, I want to be a concept artist, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of these challenges and stuff is more for someone who maybe keeps like an art journal for fun. It's not necessarily about improving, it's just about, a lot of these people want to draw, but they don't make time. So it's like, hey, here's a theme to make yourself draw more so you have fun. And yeah, that's typically it. And that's the thing, I guess it's very hard for us as professionals. It's like to see something like that. It's like, oh, that doesn't really sound appealing to me. I'm already doing all this work. And but there's these people that don't ever draw, but they do want to draw. And so they get these challenges and they're like, oh, I can do this. And people keeping me accountable and I'm part of this group. So I think it's helpful in that way. But I mean, if you're a professional, you're better off just doing life studies all day instead of doing that. So it's more of a fun thing, not really, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's something I never understood, just not really in terms of what you're describing, because what you're describing makes a lot of sense. But it's more like, even when I was young and they give us coloring books, I didn't get it. I didn't understand coloring books. Like, oh, color this thing that is already drawn for you and color within the lines, and you have a choice of these ugly colors and you have to color them. And it's like, what? But this is nothing. This sucks. This isn't any, oh, it's so creative. It's not creative. It's horrible. It's so limiting. Why not just give us blank pages? And then I get it. Like, oh, okay, it gives people a chance who don't have that. But it's very stifling to people who are creative. And I suppose the thing is just like, why is it expected that artists should do any of these things, Inktober or whatever? Because if it's just like, oh, I want to do this, because that's just, I'm out of ideas, or I want to try something different. Sure, but if it's like oh, it's ink, it's October, you know what that is, or it's self-portrait day, where's your self-portrait? It's like, what? I've done tons of self-portraits. Yeah, but it's self-portrait day. You know, you got to do it on self-portrait day. That's the kicker.
Yeah, I suppose it's the intention, right? Because it's like, okay, if you're doing this because you know yourself, then it's just like, there is no way I'm going to be doing anything. The only way I can work is if I follow whatever Inktober is. Then so it's like, fine, then that's whatever. But this once again goes back to the people. It's like, if you have an intention of learning from this, then sure. But if you're just following a trend, I think that's more destructive towards your own creative self.
But I guess that at the same time, like, especially with the coloring book things, it's still like a huge, we can't understand it as much because that's more of a hobby thing, I guess. Again, it's more of a hobby thing than anything. And like with the whole huge, I mean, you guys might have seen the adults coloring books.
Adults coloring books?
Yeah, it's like, it's basically like more difficult lines to color. And
hold on, I have to. Okay.
It's like everywhere. I mean, it's more of a, I don't know. It's a Tumblr thing. I don't know.
Oh my god.
It's like mandalas and kind of more fancy, whiny things. But like, it probably. Are you getting mad just looking at it?
No, just very, I mean, depressed and incredulous. But I mean, I guess, I mean, it's just like, you're giving it to children. That's already kind of insulting, but it's just like, you're an adult now. And it's just like, oh, there's coloring books for adults. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's, it's a weird thing, but that whole thing is like people. It's just very hard for us to understand because like there's a difference between like the whole I do art as a hobby and I do.
I think people are. There's this thing where I'm starting to, I don't know, it's just like when people say art, I sometimes I just get kind of annoyed because it's just like when people say art, they seem to think of this as this all-encompassing category, which I get where it originates from. It's like, okay, you need to categorize the subject matter, so you put it all under this, but it's like coloring books to me are nowhere near the definition of art. People who view that as a hobby, I don't view that as art either. There is very few art in the world that's actually meaningful, and I don't know. I suppose this is just me being too I don't know. Just I'm not sure what the correct word is, but just the adult coloring books. That's I don't know. That's just ridiculous to me.
Yeah, sorry. I probably shouldn't have used the word art. I don't really know.
No, that's not a fault of your own. It's just it's like it's sort of inevitable. It's just like, okay, there's this huge category, and then there's no other word for it other than art, which is something that it's been called every day by people. But the thing is just that they're once again it's being too generalized in my opinion. But there's nothing to be done about that, so whatever.
No, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know.
What's funny?
I'd just rather see, like, with kids, let's say they're coloring because it makes them feel better about being able to color something that maybe looks good. I mean, in quotes, looks good. Because, but I would rather see a kid just draw from their imagination, doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
Than color something. Even if it was really good, like if they were awesome at coloring and they colored someone else's drawing, it's still like not at all close to what I would want to see. I would rather see, like, draw badly, but draw your own thing. Show me what's in your head, not your color choices. Because color choices tend to be things more like, you color the thing purple that's supposed to be green, and that's creative. And I don't really feel like, it feels like, but you could just draw stuff, and then that would be even more, right?
Yeah. I think what it is that like it's like, okay, if you do your own thing, then what you're expressing is you, and that's what I think a lot of us are just sort of like, we want to know what you're interested in, not what other people are interested in. And that's what a lot of trends can become. It's sort of like you're doing this trend not because you're expressing yourself, but because you're expressing an idea of somebody else's, and then you can just call it your own. And in a way, I suppose this also kind of links back into fan art, which is sort of like when you're doing fan art, what you get is a lot of attention, but you're never really expressing yourself. You're expressing somebody else's idea, and you just happen to be, I don't know, you're being like something else. Like you're expressing that brand or that thing, and you're not really expressing yourself. And that's, to me, that's what the cost is, and you really lose a lot of art, like real art, in that, which is a shame. But so once again, if you do fan art, then you get a lot of attention, you can get a lot of money from it. It's whatever.
I'll argue against that. I'd say, like, I remember as a child, the original reason why I wanted to do fan art was not necessarily because I wanted to just copy the artist, because then I would have just copied the artist, but like I wanted to draw the characters in new situations that didn't really happen in the show. Like I always drew Sailor Moon, like I think I drew Sailor Moon beating up the Beast from Beauty and the Beast at one point. Just like,
but wouldn't you say that's just like, I get your point. It's sort of like you're not doing a direct copy of whatever it is that other artists did, but you're still doing something that's them, and you're doing something that's like you're putting them in a different situation. But when you look at that picture, would you say that was you, or would you say, well, that's Sailor Moon fighting Beast from Beauty and the Beast? Like, is that what other people would see? Would they see you, or they see the brand?
I think it depends on style a lot too, because if it's a completely different style, people might see you, but
they're still seeing Beauty and the Beast and Sailor Moon.
Yeah. it is a difficult thing to answer.
Yeah, I think. Oh well, ultimately, still, it depends on the person.
Yeah. I come from this very.
No, I think I understand what you mean. For you, it's sort of like Sailor Moon or these characters that from your childhood are very close to you, and those are the reasons that motivate you into creating things, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, this was when I was really young, and like I didn't know what else to draw besides I drew cats and I drew Sailor Moon, and that was it. And yeah, it's just.
But okay, so I apologize if I'm pushing my own thoughts onto you.
No, it's okay. I like to hear other people's.
Sure. Okay, then. Then what about this? Wouldn't you say it would be more interesting? Like, okay, you have Sailor Moon, you have that as a part of you, that's part of you. That's something that you hold dear. But cats are something that's nobody else's. That's nature, right? And then the only thing that's left to interpret is what you see. Don't you think that would be more interesting to explore? Like, what do cats mean to you? What could you do with the image of a cat? What's the dynamic that you can create on the page with a cat? It's just like it's purely you. And then wouldn't you say that would be an interesting thing to explore?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I guess it is like.
Because there's so many Sailor Moons and Beauty and the Beast, but there's only so many cats that's drawn in the way that you want to see it, right?
Yeah. And well, that's the thing too, is like, I guess you're making a comparison between things that are in real life that you're interpreting and things that have been already interpreted by someone else and you reinterpreting that. It's kind of almost like.
Yeah, and maybe this is once again an unfair comparison, but when you take a look at stuff like anime, it's like there's people that just copy anime and then they don't really learn the foundations for anything else, and then inevitably they just get a watered down version. And then with a lot of fan art, it's just like that's kind of what you get. You just get purely the interpretation that the original artist has already made. And then you twist that interpretation, but it's still an interpretation of somebody else's work. Whereas if you just look at it's like, okay, you really like cats. That's really you. That's something that's specifically only that you really like. And then there's nobody else that's interpreting it. The best comparison you can make is, well, you're copying nature, but well, everybody copies nature. That's the ultimate foundation. There is no watered down version. There's only you that's interpreting that cat in whatever situation you want it to be, in whatever way you want it to be drawn in, et cetera, et cetera.
Because there's no rules, really. Well,
yeah,
I guess you could apply physics or something, but people don't really care.
You can apply physics, but then animators twist that all the time. Filmmakers twist that all the time. Artists twist that all the time. There's a lot of playing room for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying, and that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I guess it does depend, like. I feel that's kind of what kind of divides a lot of artists, like what kind of artists they're going to be, almost. Is like if you start out copying real life or if you start out copying cartoons, because like cartoons have been only.
Like for me, I didn't start off copying nature. I copied Dragon Ball Z. That's where I started. But what I mean for that is, I feel as though it's like it doesn't really matter where you start. Like you could start copying anime. I did that a lot. Start copying Disney cartoons. I'm sure there's a lot of people that did that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that started off copying comics. But I feel as though, for me anyways, the ultimate reward has been to discover what it is that I interpret. And it's not to say that I copy from nature. It's like, of course there are things that I take from nature, but I change it into the way I want to see it. It's just like, okay, does it feel good to express this image in this way, this line in that way, etc., etc. So when I say taking things from nature, I don't necessarily mean copying it. Nature is there for information, but it's up to you to interpret that information. Do you want to keep information? Do you want to toss it away? Do you want to interpret it in some other way? It's like the world is your oyster. You can play with it however you want it to be.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And I get like.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I find a lot of merit in that too. Like when I actually started drawing like real life things and drawing photos like this, what I'm doing right now. It's
Well, have you also thought about why you necessarily like drawing things like that? So it's like, what does this image mean to you? No, is it because it's appealing in terms of the aesthetics? Well, if so, then what about the aesthetics is interesting? Is it the style of fashion? Is it the shapes? Is it the energy? Is it the subject matter itself? You know, you said that like Beauty and the Beast. Well, is there a tie to your childhood there?
Yeah, well,
it's like all Disney stuff, right?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, if you look at my other art, besides my really lewd stuff, you can see like I'm very inspired by girly girl things because I was raised a girly girl.
Well, that's an expression as well, right?
Yeah, it's just like this is who I am and this is what I'm interested in. So that's why I chose like a girl dressed up as a princess because honestly, I thought this outfit was kind of ugly, but I liked the concept, so I'm making the outfit a little better, and her hair looks really nice, so I wanted to do that too.
Yeah, because for me, it's more interesting to see. Just I don't know. It's because like art is an expression of your psychology. It's an expression of you, the human animal, right? So then it's just like, oh, you see whatever you get from this image, or even your lewd stuff. It's just like that's more real. That's more honest. It's just like I see the artist there. I see the person.
Yeah, and it's not just fan art because I know all you're saying when you make fan art is like, I like this thing. Here it is.
It can be that, yeah. It can be that.
In a way, it's almost like that's almost a way to make friends. It's like if you draw this, like, hey, I like this thing, I drew it, and then you find people who also like that thing and also like to draw. Like that's how I found friends on the internet first too, because like
I think that can be a good thing. It's just like, okay, even though fan art, I feel as though it is an interpretation of other people's things, it can still be an expression of, I don't know, yourself, I suppose. So it's just like, okay, you made a lot of friends that are interested in fan art as well. It's just like, okay, that's a way to connect. So it's like that's okay as well. It's just, I think what I really am trying to say with this is that I'm okay with fan art, but I hope that that's not the final stop for most artists. It's just like this is a stage of development. There's something in this genre or work or whatever it is from this particular piece of work that you enjoy, that's connected to you somehow, whether it be through childhood or because there's something that thing is expressing that you really like, and that's great. But I hope that that's not the only, that's the final stop for your growth as an artist. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, Sycra. Question time?
Yeah, questions. Bob, how about fan art for literary works without pictures?
Well, I mean, that's much more, because the thing with with fan art of video games and other stuff and the visuals is that the visuals is already done for you. You know, it's just like everything's already pretty much done for you, and all that's left is for you to just sort of draw it again, except maybe in your own way. Whereas with books, it's just like there's a lot more variation, just because like you're going to take what you get from the words is going to be different for everybody. You know, they're going to take certain words are going to pop out more to them, so they're going to see things differently. So I think for that, it's like that's less of copying and doing something again, and more of just sort of like training almost, because you're forced to visualize. And I think it's a good step to do. I wouldn't necessarily say I did that a lot myself, but I do know that like when I was reading literary works where there is no image provided, it's like, oh, I can see the things in my head, and then it's just like I could use this. You know? And I think Fang Zhu also mentioned this as well. He read like sci-fi books and used that as an exercise.
I think it's really good. Also, if you're going to do commissions, well, I mean, I guess if you're going to be a concept artist or any kind of artist, you're probably going to be working solely from written descriptions with maybe some reference photos. I think that's a really good thing. Like, get a book you like or something and say what you think the characters would look like.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it as an exercise. You know, it's like, okay, read something. Do you see something in your mind? Do you visualize it? Try drawing it. It's a good exercise, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy Carter asks, Sycra and friends, what's the most rewarding thing for you as artists? Yeah. What's the most rewarding thing for you guys as artists and girls?
All right, let's start with you, Pasteletta.
I guess getting better and seeing like how I don't know, seeing my art go the direction I want it to, and also kind of the stress relief that I get from art, because I don't know, I don't just do art for my job or whatever. It was originally just to express myself and get ideas out, and I mean even do vent art or whatever, and it makes me feel better. So I guess it's also for my mental health, in addition to a goal I'm trying to achieve. Even though I don't really know where that goal is going, I just want to get better. What about you, Bob?
An improvement is, it's definitely rewarding to see like, oh, my skills improve, and because of that, I have more options to create on the page. You know, it's like, okay, I can do more. I can add more nuances. I can take nuances. I have more to play with because of that. And I suppose the other thing is that I'm really starting to understand now is just expression and what that means. It's like, I wouldn't say that expressing myself with my art releases something, but just using it to explore myself psychologically and what do things mean to me. It's it feels very good for the soul, I guess. It just feels like, oh, this feels right. No, it's like it's a good expression for the human spirit. It feels enriching. I suppose that's the word for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
What about you, Sycra?
What is the question?
What's the most satisfying thing when it comes to doing art or something?
Rewarding, satisfying, the same difference. I don't know.
The most satisfying thing about doing art. I guess it depends. Like as an art teacher, it's definitely having if you're teaching someone and then they get something that took you a really, really long time to get, and they get it really quickly, and it's like, yeah, right, you get it, cool, that worked. And then in drawing, it's also if I'm doing caricatures, it's if I nail the person, like you totally captured the essence of them. You got their likeness. If I'm doing expressive stuff, it's usually I enjoy just seeing, oh, that's what was in my head. Cool. If I'm doing fan arty stuff, it would be that I captured something unique that's not something anyone else would have done. I don't know. It really depends on which me is drawing, I guess. Yeah.
And that definitely, well, I can agree with that with work. I guess there's like the work artist, and I mean, I know you're talking about your personalities more, but I feel like there's also like the work artist that gets satisfied from certain things, and then there's your personal art, and then there's kind of like, I guess, your practice art or the art that you're doing to get better. But definitely as a commission artist, I feel a lot of pride when I have a client say, oh my God, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Or you did the character perfectly. Just like that they're really happy they got a commission from me. It makes me really, really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. Krenel Ishak Pasha asks, how many time have experience drawing? I guess that means how long have you been drawing?
Okay, that's a weird way to ask that question, but
I think it's just a language issue. It's not
okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense then. I don't know. If I were to count the total hours, I wouldn't know. I just know that I've been drawing my whole life, on and off, throughout my life. Yeah, that's basically it. I've only taken it seriously in the past, I guess 4 or 5 years. So that's when I took it seriously. But I've been drawing my whole life. So yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
main thing.
All right. If I nailed that person, I'm not talking about nailed in that way. How to get confidence in our art?
How to get confidence in our art? That really depends. Confidence, I don't know. That's kind of a strange way to talk about it. If they mean like, like I'm not insecure about my art anymore. I have no issues with my skill level, with my technical abilities. Then I don't know. I feel as though you never really, that never really happens. You always understand on some level that there's some level that you can improve on. I'm sure you can get to a point where you start enjoying your art more. I've experienced that, so that's there's that. But no, it just depends. Like I feel as though I gained more confidence once when I actually saw myself improving, and then I got to a certain level, and that's when I started saying, I'm not too bad. But it depends for each person. There's no really easy way to get confident, unless you really try to I don't know, convince yourself of that. But I don't know. It depends for each person.
What is that? Is that a cat?
Sorry, Tenzin wants to go in the bedroom and he's not allowed in there. Just a second. I'm gonna go hold him if you guys don't mind. And he shuts up.
That's fine.
Oh, baby.
Okay. Sycra, why are you not streaming at the regular time?
Sorry, cat mom time. Anyways, go on.
I was out in a faraway land, and that's why. But also, I'm probably going to change the regular time now that I'm in Canada.
Canada land.
Canada land.
Libya.
Yeah, probably do that. But even if I don't, I couldn't. There is no way. Couldn't be done, man. It can't happen. It's some things can be done and some things never can be done. So don't bother with it. I'm drawing a teenager stuck in a box. That's good. It sounds like things teenagers get stuck in.
Yeah. Among other things.
All about that box. All right. Sycra, when will you come to India? I have no idea if I will ever go there, but I don't know. Maybe one day. Just keep looking, man. Like, Singham, welcome to Goa. Welcome to Goa, Singham. Okay. Dude, you're in Canada. Try the syrup. I heard it's great over there. Yeah, I've tried it. Okay. Do you think students should be given out to do drawing in classes like math? Yeah, I feel like not the idea of, I don't know, drawing in class, but I feel like as much as the language of, like, okay, just coming from an English-speaking background, we learn English in school, and we learn math. And to me, math is a language, and English is a language, and art is a language, and music is a language. And they're all different languages, and I feel like they should all be taught. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have additional supply depots about that?
Not really. I'm not really an expert in classes, but I was just wondering, do you think like, is that a good thing to have classes on just like art and then music and stuff like that?
Just on a very technical level, I never think creativity is something that should be taught or can be taught necessarily. I mean, maybe there is a way that I'm not aware of, but the idea that creativity can be taught, I think it's more about, like, okay, you learn English, you don't learn poetry. You might learn forms, but then that's up to you to explore. But people, in school, they learn a basic grasp of English, basic literary skills, and I feel that's what's missing in art. Just like be able to draw something in proportion. That's something schools could teach. I feel like that's not that hard. And then whether it's draw well, or I don't know, whether you speak English well or you are good with math, that's its own thing. But at least you should be able to do basic like multiplication, stuff like that.
Okay, so just being taught the basic technical stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Well, the thing is, we even need to learn how to like draw spheres and, well, not really spheres, but like cubes and pyramids and stuff for geometry, so they kind of are related. I think if you visualize, I don't know, I feel like personally that's why I was so good in geometry, because I understood, like, when it was applied to 3D forms, it made a lot more sense. The math made a lot more sense to me, because that's how I thought. And that's the thing, is like people think differently. And I guess you have to be taught a lot of different languages and experience them to see which one makes sense in your brain, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I feel like people should be given a chance to learn art.
I suppose one thing that I would really like, if there were classes like that, is to have at least somebody competent. Because I remember my high school art classes, and I was shown examples where I just thought, oh, this is this is not impressing me.
Oh, I have a story.
And then we had to do what's it called, arts and craft, where we decorated pine cones and stuff.
Oh no,
that was just, to me, that was just nonsense. And what? Because to me, that was not art. That was just garbage.
No, it was.
So I suppose I would. It's like, if we were to have that, it'd just be like, let us be taught by somebody competent and knows what they're doing. It's like, okay, if we're being taught music, then let's get taught by a proper musician. If we're being taught photography, let's get taught by a proper person who does photography and that kind of stuff.
Actually, I have a story quickly. It goes with the visual. So since I'm drawing, anyways. So speaking of terrible art teachers, so we got an art teacher in high school because the old art teacher quit, or she retired or something, to take care of her kids, which is definitely something you need to do sometimes. But we got a teacher that had retired from our school. She was a science teacher, and she came back, and she thought she was a big artist. Like, she thought she was very, very good. And so we were doing portraiture one day. She was going to teach us how to do portraiture. So this is how she taught us to draw faces. And okay, she was like, okay, so draw an upside down egg like this, and then draw the nose. Draw the lips. And then, sorry about that, draw the eyes and the eyebrows.
I guess what she didn't understand is that not everyone wants to be professional.
No, but she didn't even know how to draw, like, proportions. Like, this was there's their ears. But basically, I think she even drew the ears like that. It's like, this is the ears, and then you draw the hair. And this is advanced art too. This is like the advanced art classes. So it was all us, like, the artsy kids that nobody, like, not basically all the artsy, nerdy people. And we were just like, my friends and I were trying not to burst out laughing, because it was just. Well, like, the worst part was, like, this isn't even a good example of what she drew. She drew, like, those baby cherubs that you see a lot in Russian, not Russian, oh my gosh, Roman stuff, and, like, cheesy greeting card things, like that kind of stuff. That's the kind of face it was. I can't really draw it, but, like, this, like, creepy baby faces. And it was just, like, this tiny creepy baby face and this giant egg. And it was beautiful and terrible. And then, like, I don't know, we were supposed to enter an art contest, and she entered too, and she was just so proud of herself, and it was a chicken, and it looked like this. It was just...
Well, now she's just showing off.
Yeah. It was just so bad. And she spent like 4 weeks on it. I guess a month then. She spent a month on that. It was just...
Wow.
Because it was covered in
Masterpiece.
beautiful. She was an amazing artist, and she hated everything I did because I drew anime. And I'm the only one out of all my friends who actually has an art job.
Such is the way of high school art teachers.
Yeah.
What is it?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
High school art teachers. Okay, yeah. Let's move on. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So
that's a funny image.
I'm glad I finally impressed you.
It's beautiful. Now that's a masterpiece. Now, is that his nose or his mouth? I cannot tell.
It is a mouth. The nose is there.
Perfect. You have amazing proportions. Even better than my teachers. Incredible.
Well, I don't know if I'm that good, you know. I do try, I do my best, but no, just get up every day.
Hard act to follow.
Yeah. I try not to be competitive. I'm more about community than than competition. Okay. How do I get a critique from you? I don't have money to pay for it myself. I'm not 18. Two things then, I guess. Get money and get 18.
Or sell your firstborn.
I don't know.
Satan.
Sycra, I have to go, but if you tell me that Caleb is your schmuck before I go, you will be my hero. Caleb is a schmuck? He's not a schmuck.
He's a potato.
You need to give him a chance. You know, I know he seems like a schmuck right now, but one day he'll be dead, and you'll be at his funeral, and you'll be thinking, you know, he really wasn't that much of a schmuck. And then he'll come out of his grave and say, I wasn't, but you thought I was, and that's why I jumped off that bridge.
Live with it for the rest of your life.
And then the skeleton war will begin.
Yeah.
You will join the skeleton war.
Yeah, but I don't think that's politically correct. I think you're supposed to call them anorexic bulimics.
What? Excuse him, what?
Anyway, this is a pretty late stream. Yeah, I'll try and make them earlier from now on. I'm sorry it was so late. You know, I'll try to do better next time, which will be in a month. Okay, if you draw something over 100 times, how do you get something more out of it than not learning how to do it? I would say don't just draw a thing 100 times, but try and make it better. You know, like keep fixing it, keep improving it each time so that you're learning constantly. If you're just drawing the same thing, I don't know, I think you'll only get better in your hand-eye coordination. Are all artists crazy? No. I think some are very practical. Some care a lot about paying the bills. Yeah.
We're all crazy in like the sense that we just stay at home and draw all day. I guess if you call that crazy. I guess an extrovert would call that crazy, maybe.
No, I just call that practical.
Yeah.
That's very practical. Yeah. All right. You're a very practical person, Pass.
Yay. And I'm a hermit.
Yeah. Okay, how do you find employers, as in studios, art directors, going to conventions, personal recommendations, waiting for them to contact you? ArtStation, DeviantArt, social media, or LinkedIn? I feel like there's a bunch of people who are better qualified to answer this than me because I don't work in a studio. I don't really go to conventions, and I just draw stuff. Keep improving it. Don't do the same thing.
Huh?
I don't know. Someone said I pronounce hard G's.
Okay.
Or I don't.
Okay.
Or maybe it's the opposite because I don't pronounce the G's hard enough.
Huh? I guess everybody hears things differently.
I'll
Yeah.
just wake up the cat again.
Oh, okay. You
He's
deal
good.
with your cat.
No, he's. If
Didn't.
I stare him down, he'll stop. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna pick me up again, aren't you?" Well, I'm gonna stop. But yeah,
You play with your cat as much as you need to.
I'm not going to play with my pussy right now. He needs to chill out and not be played with.
Okay, what is the biggest epiphany or light bulb moment that you've had in your art journey? What realization helped you grow the most? Probably the iterative drawing for me. How about you, Bob?
I don't remember mine right now.
How about you, Pass?
Realizing that you can sketch before you actually ink.
Oh.
I did that I learned that when I was like 13, because I thought all artists, like like anime artists, I thought it was just like an innate skill, and you could just take your Micron pen to the paper and draw shapes, and it would be fine. And that's how my art looked like this for about 5 years. Because I did not sketch. Also, they had tiny torsos and huge Metaton legs. Skills. And this kind of hair.
I don't know. I still think that's pretty cool.
Well, I was like 11 or 14 or 13 or however old I said I was. I don't remember what I said.
Someone's asking a related question, which is, how old is Sycra and Friends?
Old as balls.
Yeah, but whose balls?
Whose balls?
Like, is
know.
it a 20-year-old's balls? Is it a 30-year-old's balls? How old as balls are you?
Is it a
it's not appropriate to ask a lady that question, right?
How old my balls are?
Yeah.
Let me check. I need to make sure that I'm getting this correct now.
The wrinkles.
Let's count the wrinkles. Count the wrinkles.
I am 32.
32.
24 wrinkles.
I have 24 balls. 24 skirts.
How about you, Bob?
I think I'm 24.
You're 1992. So what does that mean?
Yay! Same year as me.
24. Yeah, you're both 24 wrinkles.
Yeah, so
right.
how much older am I than you? Like, what month were you born, Bob, if I may ask?
Me, I was born on May 19.
Ha! You are 9 days older than me.
9 days older or younger?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, May 28th for me. So.
Oh, snap.
You're just barely not a Gemini, so you missed the bullet of being insane.
Oh, snap.
Okay. Sorry, let me clarify. I'm using the same style of art, not learning anything from it. Okay, so you're using the same style of art and not learning anything from it. Try not worrying about style and just focusing on drawing from reality. I think that helps, because if you're drawing from life, you will always find something to learn from, I feel. Anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like also that can be really stress relieving, because I mean, like right now I'm trying to stylize this photo and it's actually like a pain in my ass because I'm trying to like I don't know if I should make it look like her actual face or like an anime face. And like, that's the thing is when you're just trying to copy from reality and interpret reality, like Bob was saying, I feel like it's a lot less stressful because you're not worried about things looking like your style or a style. Just do it because no matter what, nobody draws the same, so it will be your style. Like you just, I don't know, unless you're just basically photocopying it with your pencil, then that's different. But yeah, no matter what you draw, it'll be a unique style. Because yeah. What do you guys think about that? Would that be?
Yeah, that's fine. I think with reality, it just, once again, it depends. When you're looking at reality, you're looking at pretty much all the information that a human eye can interpret. And you take what information you think, well, that depends on your capabilities as well. But basically, no matter what your capabilities, you will interpret that information in whatever way you see fit. So, your muscle memories will play a part, your eyes will play a part. Yeah. And then what you finally draw on the page will, I don't know, it'll have things that you that hold interest to you, but it'll also have discarded information that you might not have wanted to keep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you prefer Warner Brothers or classic Disney animation?
Is this a question to everybody?
Yeah. I'm going to make it a question to everybody. How about you, Pass? Warner Brothers or classic Disney?
That's really hard. I like them both.
No, I think you like them both.
I do like them both, but
If you had to choose,
it's really hard because like I like them both for different reasons. Because I prefer like I guess how Warner Brothers draws animals, because Disney is just kind of like all their animals look the same, I guess, from every movie except for like the 3D ones. I don't know. And like Warner Brothers did like Animaniacs and like Tiny Toons and that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yes. Okay. Because that's like, I love Disney, but I actually have a lot more nostalgia for like Tiny Toons and stuff. I used to love that. So that's why it's really hard for me. Because I love Disney princesses, but I also really love Babs Bunny. She's amazing.
Okay. How much do you guys make? Not that this will affect my career path, just curious. Well, now.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends, I suppose. I'll tell you this much, I make less than I used to.
Because YouTube doesn't want to monetize artistic
and
drawings of titties. Even if they're artistic, it's just nipples are so offensive that
the
advertiser...
YouTube thing. Did you want to talk about that?
Oh, God. Do we want to get into it?
I guess not. I guess enough other people have spoken about this. But,
I don't know. Just as a woman in general, I'm like, why are people offended by nipples? Like, almost everyone's seen a nipple. Everyone has nipples unless you're like a weird person who has, I don't know. I actually knew a person that had 3 nipples once. It was very weird.
It's not weird. It's normal, and it's cool, and it's the best thing you can have, okay? It also makes you better at art. Furthermore, do not make fun of people who have this condition, because they are probably just cool people who you never gave a chance to.
Well, they're not cool enough because they don't have 5 nipples like me. Jeez, only 3 nipple people. Where's your 2 other nipples, huh? Jeez. Get on my level, bitch.
Nick Bernstein says you should talk about it. A lot of your viewers might not be aware of it. Okay, I'll just briefly talk about the thing. So YouTube has this thing where they are now flagging videos for being not advertiser friendly. And I had a figure drawing video be flagged for not being advertiser friendly, and some other videos. Oh, some Bob Meatbag videos.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Got
Oh Lord.
flagged for not being advertiser friendly, and the rationalization was that this had not been. This was always being done. We just weren't given notice of it, but that's not true, because no, we were given notice, or at least I was, every time my videos were flagged. So it's just a thing where it feels like censorship and lame stuff all around. I feel like people won't really care that much until their own, like, viewers, regular viewers won't care until their comments get censored, because that's the next step. If advertisers don't like the content on your videos, would they really like comments that are whatever counter to that? But anyway, it's a big thing, and I think it's dumb. But in terms of advertising revenue on YouTube, you're not supposed to, if you're a YouTuber, you're not supposed to use YouTube as your source of income. You're supposed to use YouTube as a means of marketing. It's a platform to promote the things that you do make money from, such as merchandise and all this stuff. And because I don't really do any of that, it's just, I kind of had ideals of, or these thoughts that, yeah, well, yeah, I'm not, first of all, I wasn't making money off YouTube when I started, and then when I finally did start making money off YouTube, because someone was saying it's important to do that, then I started taking less work outside of YouTube and putting more into YouTube. But then when videos get censored and stuff, it's just like, I probably shouldn't do that. I probably should focus on stuff outside of YouTube, like Patreon and stuff, because it makes more sense, and the advertiser revenue gets less and less. That's why I make less now, like over half, or I make less than half of what I did 3 years ago, even though subscribers and views and everything goes up. You have to keep pumping out that, and I'm just not a good YouTuber. I'm not one of those, slick, I know how to do things people. I actually feel really dumb when it comes to promotion and marketing and all that good stuff. So, and the integrity gets in the way as well.
Yeah, when you like that, you can make a lot more money by pouring yourself out to furries. Like, well, I am a furry though, so I'm not really pouring out, but because I actually enjoy drawing furries. But that's the thing, is like, if you don't care, you can just draw a lot of furries and make a lot of money. But anyways, but I don't know, speaking of that merchandise thing though, I'm actually surprised you haven't put out more prints, because there's so many print-on-demand places now, and I don't know, I think you'd actually sell really well, because your art is very, it's, since you don't do fan art, it's like, I think it would be really cool on phone cases. But anyways,
I don't know.
I was thinking about like merchandising stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's really a great skill to have as an artist, and it's one that I really lack, because
Same here.
I never think about that. I always think about, well, primarily I think about the teaching stuff, and then I do have ideas of, I want to be a good artist one day where people would buy my work, not just because of teaching, not just because I teach, I mean, but it doesn't matter. It's just like, that's mostly what I think about, is just teaching now. Okay. What do you think? Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll talk about it later.
No, talk about it now, because I realized I've already answered this question that I was going to ask.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. It's like, right anymore, it just can be such a passive thing to make merchandise, because you literally just upload a picture to Redbubble or something and put it on, like, it'll just put on a bunch of products, and you don't even have to do hardly anything. And then you can just link it, and you don't have to do hardly any work, and it's a really nice kind of passive source of income. And I don't know, it's just like, there's a lot worse artists out there. Like, I think you're extreme. Obviously, I'm like a fan of yours. I'm not just like trying to suck up here, but I think your art is really good, and I think it would sell on prints and tapestries and stuff. And I don't know, it's such an easy thing that I wish, like, I wish I had the platform that I could sell my art like that, because obviously no one's going to get, I mean, maybe someone, but not a lot of people want a tapestry or like a giant print of furry porn in their living room, but maybe like one of your girls or your creature things, they probably actually would want a print of that or to look at that or have that on their phone case, etc. And especially since you do have all that. But I don't know. I guess the other thing that maybe you don't think about is because you're probably not part of the culture that you like to decorate a lot or like do fashion stuff. And since I really love fashion and decorating, I'm always thinking about like, oh man, I wish my favorite artist made prints so I could put it all over my room. Like if I'm not going to pronounce this right. Saori Neko Works did tapestries. I'd have like 10 of them because I love their art so much. But yeah, that thing that even like 1 or 2 fans buying new stuff, that helps. Every little bit helps. So I think it's really worth it, even if it's like not your goal, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Drew Darling asks, okay, so I usually draw my art in a very realistic style, and I would like to be able to have a cartoonish style, and I've tried, but I just can't get comfortable with it. So do you have any advice? Do you have any advice on that, Bob?
Difficult to say because I'm not sure. I think you would be better to be able to answer this question, but I can try to think of something in the meantime.
Okay, so I don't know. I did this the dumb way because I think what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to draw in cartoony stuff and then just copy a style that's the most like the one you would like to have until it becomes natural to you. I think that's the thing. But the way I do it is I try to analyze everything and break it down and then be able to build anything, I guess. But
okay.
Probably did that wrong.
I actually have a tip that I think, sorry, just had a brain fart. A good way to start a cartoony style or any other kind of simplified style is, it's going to sound weird, but find shapes you like simple shapes. Like say you like egg shapes, or say you like, well, I mean, like with you, Sycra, you like sharp shapes, so that's what you base your style off of.
I like inverted eggs with all the features pulled towards the middle.
Oh yeah, there's inverted eggs everywhere. But yeah, just like find simple shapes you like and put them together, and then you'll find something you like. And well, different proportions too, I guess, too.
Yeah. I think something that could tie in with this is maybe study a bit about animation.
Yeah.
It's like animators have to get rid of detail by necessity. They can't afford to draw all the details because they're going to animate. Then that would take literally years if they're going to do a full-on animation and they have all the details of reality. That would be impossible. So yeah, study up on animation, anime, anything animation related, and then you'll probably find an answer somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, Bob.
Oh, yeah, pat on the back.
Sycra, please. Chris Moonar asked, please ask Bob, back to the discussion of fan art, what do you think of OCs in fan art? Original characters in fan art.
I don't know. I don't really know if I have an opinion on that because I haven't really done anything like that before. I don't know. I guess if you want to use that as sort of an exploration in style, it's just like, oh, what would a character look like in this style or whatever, and then I suppose that could be a good exercise if you just want to learn. If you want to learn something from it, you know. So I don't know. I guess it could be all right, but I wouldn't really say I'm an expert in something like that.
Yes. Okay, what techniques were...
Sorry, I'm so bad with timing. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead and say your piece.
No, I was just making a funny comment.
Okay, make it then. It's really funny. Make it.
No, it's not funny, but original character, Donut Steal.
Donut Steal.
Oh, do not steal. Okay.
Donut Steal. But
Donut Steal. Original character, Donut Steal. Oh, I get it. Do not steal.
Because
Yeah.
it's an original character.
Because it's an original character. Yeah, I get it.
It's if you were on my side of the internet like 10 years ago, that was actually a legitimate thing. But everybody had to post that on there, and then there's people who couldn't spell, so they spelled it literally like donut, like the pastry, and then steel, like the metal.
Oh, donut. Okay. Donut. Steel. So this is it?
Probably. Yes.
Character. Donut steel.
Yep.
I have one. I have one that I made up. It's this. All right.
What?
I don't know. Why do you even do anything? All right. So I know you guys are doing projects right now, but can you give any tips on cartoon, more like caricature drawings? I feel like we have before.
Yeah, I guess we've already answered that.
I would say look up Jason Seiler. He can give you good tips on that. He's got some videos. Let me spell it. Jason. I think it's this, but it might be. No, it's definitely with an EI. Tyler. He's got very good advice on this. See, it's almost time to end this, and my brain is starting to stop.
Oh, better end this soon.
That's
It's okay. My brain stopped like 10 hours ago, if you guys couldn't tell from how I've been talking.
yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't tell.
I'm dying.
You're dying?
Yes, my batteries are dying. I need to recharge them with soda, but we have no soda, and I'm sad.
Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, if I do pay for a critique, is there any guarantee that you will get to it? What? Yeah, of course there is.
That's his job. That's
Yes,
what you do when you have a job. That's how a job works. Exactly how a job works.
Tips on finishing pretty decent pieces in a short amount of time. My application art class is really demanding. I think you would be the best to answer this, Pass. Finishing decent pieces in a short... Okay, get good. All right. Well...
Good.
There you go. Memes. You guys like memes, right? There's just memes.
I don't have actual advice, just memes.
Yes.
Really old, shitty memes.
Yeah, old and shitty. Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
tastes good. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, memes. Yeah, great. All right, everyone. So that's it for our stream today.
Sorry, my phone.
I want to go ahead and thank my special guest, Flavia.
Hi, Flavia.
They said hi.
Oh, hi.
Stealth appearance.
Me, hi. And then
Me, hi.
Bob. And then Pass.
Follow your dreams, kids, and stay in school, unless it's art school.
Oh, that's good. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for the tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Good luck and good night.